Coming up on episode 3 of Webcomic Showcase, we're looking at fantasy stories that are in black and white and an interview with Saga Homeguard, the creator of Reclaim. My name is Imani. I'm here to give you a behind-the-scenes look into the creative process of art and comics. If you like that kind of stuff, make sure you sketching the subscribe button. When I reach 200 subscribers on this channel, I will do a Q&A. I've read through all your comments and messages, and all I have to say is thank you for the support. Now, let's get on with the video. Let's begin with Reclaim, a medieval historic fantasy webcomic created by Saga Homeguard. After a successful coup dethrones the Empire, Albus has to save his father and reclaim their empire from the power-hungry witch warrior Arain. But with just him and his bodyguard Striker against the entire force of the Empire, how can he hope to stand a chance? And what was the real reason for the coup in the first place? I asked Homeguard questions about this project, and they had this to tell me. Honestly, my first impression was that I wanted to make a cool action scene, and I kept imagining it in my head. Around that, the story developed about this prince and his bodyguard, fleeing when evil powers took over his land. As I started writing the story, a lot of inspiration came from researching for the setting and time where I wanted my story to take place. I came up with a lot of plot points because of some fun historic trivia I found out. What are the main themes behind the series? It's a story about staying together when times are rough, and when you may not agree with your significant other about what to do. And it's a story about admitting that you were wrong and working towards becoming a better person and doing what you can to make the people around you happier. What do you have to say about a certain character from your series? It's the first time I really fallen in love with my own characters. Striker is one of the main characters, and I've poured so much into her. She's a buff and capable woman, but she struggles and worries a lot, which I can relate to. How do you come up with the characters in your story? They're all created to support one another, story-wise. The story needs characters with relationships, backstories, and feelings that will push the narrative forward and hopefully make it more interesting to read about. It's important to me that they all have motives, faults, and strengths. The more characters that the readers can like and relate to, the better. How long do you plan for this series to run? I had a clear goal on writing the script that I would be able to finish drawing within 5 years. My goal is to reach the end sometime in 2025, which is actually a bit longer than my original goal. Hopefully, I can keep up the pace until then. Next, we have Crossed Arrows, a psychological fantasy webtoon created by Urena. Amelia, the princess of the Vaxamar Kingdom, and its supposed heiress of the throne, have eloped during her crowning ceremony for unknown reasons. The story takes place 2 years later, after she suddenly returns to find out that her former lover, Raymond, and the rest of her entourage have drastically changed. Before we move on to the final showcase, shout out to my supporter on Patreon, Sonia. Thank you so much for your contribution to my brand. For just $1 a month, you can get yourself a shout out on my upcoming videos. And if you enjoyed this video so far, give me a like and subscribe. MADDINDIES is the place where I, a fellow creator myself, review and showcase indie manga and webcomics for readers and creators. If you love webcomics as much as I do, why not get yourself something after you check out the last comic for this video? I have exclusive MADDINDIES merch and featured shops from webcomic creators on the MADDINDIES website. You can read the full interviews and support all the series that were featured in this episode, including the one coming up, by following their story on Webtoons, TAPAS, and on social media. The link is in the description below. Maximum Chaos is a comedy fantasy webcomic. Art by Danita Siebert, story by Danita Siebert and Sharita Siebert. As a newlywed couple, Mark and April thought they were destined to live a simple life, until they get entangled with an obsessive officer's plot for revenge against their biggest crime syndicate in all of Famous Land, a Hollywood-esque inspired fantasy world. Little did they know it would be more complicated than a game of cops and robbers. Read and discover the truths and secrets of Athena, a world where fantasy and mythology are blended into one. Comic creators, if you want to be a part of MADDINDIES, all you have to do is sign up for my newsletter and you'll receive a form to fill out about your series. Let me know in the comments which series you are checking out first and why. If you enjoyed this episode of Webcomic Showcase, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more art and comic videos. Follow me on social media, all that jazz is in the description below, and watch my latest Webcomic Showcase episode right here.